Rama said, "Holy Sir, how can it be said to be not empty, not to be illuminated, and not dark? By such contradictory expressions you confuse me." Yeah, whenever you start to try and talk about this, you end up sounding extremely contradictory. There isn't anything that can be done about that, really. You need to try and get beyond what the words are saying to what the words are indicating. Vasistha replied, "Rama, you are asking immature questions, yet I shall elucidate the correct meaning. Even as the uncarved image is forever present in a block, the world, whether you regard it as real or unreal, is inherent in the Absolute, which is therefore not void." And sometimes we talk about the void. The void can mean, well, it contains nothing, or we could say it's void of all description. Either meaning actually makes sense, or either meaning it is relevant depending on the context. The uncarved image is forever present in a block. This is thinking of the sculpture or the wood carver. The sculptor or the wood carver. You could say if you take a block of granite or wood or whatever, or marble, every image is inherent in it. All potentiality exists within a piece of wood or a piece of granite or rock or whatever. And so in the same way, the world, whether you regard it as real or unreal, is inherent in the Absolute. So this Absolute, which isn't, we must be careful about thinking of the Absolute as a notion, as a concept. Everything that is talked about here, whether it's cosmic dissolution or creation, is referring to something that is going on within us at any particular moment. Everything here can be related, or we should try to relate it to ourselves, not as personalities or as particular psyches, but as something that is going on fundamental to our being, something which is perhaps going on, well, it's going on deeper than thought. It's like stillness, silence. Within silence is the potentiality for every sound. Just as in a calm ocean, one cannot say that there are no waves present, the Absolute is not empty of the world. Yeah, so he's taking another metaphor, rather than the block of stone, taking the calm ocean. Although I think if the ocean is calm, you probably could say there are no waves. So he's stretching it a bit here. But I think we can understand the meaning is in the calm ocean there's the potentiality of all waves. And he goes on to say, of course, these illustrations have limited application and should not be exceeded. So let's not try and stretch them too much. In truth, however, this world does not arise from the Absolute, nor does it merge in it. Which is what I was saying previously about trying to make a connection between the world and the Absolute. These two notions, the notions of the world and of the Absolute, are a result of our cognitive process, it's a result of our thinking. There is no connection because they're absolutely non-different. So the world doesn't arise from the Absolute, and nor does it merge into the Absolute when you have some kind of realization. The Absolute alone exists now and forever. well, and you can't even say whether it exists. Again, existence or non-existence are also part of our cognitive process. All we can say is that the Absolute is. When one thinks of it as a void, it is because of the feeling one has that it is not void. When one thinks of it as not void, it is because there is a feeling that it is void. And here we've got an example of the contradictions or the paradoxes that we find when we try to talk about this thing. I mean, if we got the idea that there's lots of things going on, that we got this universe of infinite occurrences, infinite happenings, then we balance that by thinking, well, there's actually nothing going on, is there? And there's actually nothing that exists. So then we start thinking of the universe in terms of void. But then when we start thinking of it in terms of void, then we think, well, everything's happening within it. So it's not void. The Absolute is immaterial, and so material sources of light, like the sun, do not illuminate. But it is self-luminous, and therefore it is not inert nor dark. This Absolute cannot be realized or experienced by another. Only the Absolute can realize itself. It's self-luminous, it shines. I mean, there's something going on, there's something here, it's happening. It's not nothing. Nothing propels it, nothing is behind it. Everything is just simply happening. And it cannot be realized. Only its own nature can realize itself. Its own nature is what is intrinsic to our own essential awareness. And it's that essential awareness, once that essential awareness becomes aware of itself, then we have realization.